Ah, that's what's holding me up. Hello. A little noisy. So, mentioning the pickups in the description, these, they're orange. And they're currently like 12 bucks on Amazon. Not a bad price for something like this. And, orange, black guitar. Yes, this is the one with the Tone Riders that were in it not too long ago. But, yeah, I kind of had to get them. Because if you notice what's behind me, I kind of had to get them. It's the season. And they sound pretty damn good for being $12 currently and normally 24, and for 24 they sound pretty good. Now if I was going to stack them up against the ones in there, the right there, the Sandman pickups knock the crap out of them. But, at this price point, it's just kind of in degrees of percent, just little percentages of degrees. It's not they're great for what they are. Those are better. They're more expensive. The price of both of these is a little less than one of those. But, normally without them being on sale for 12 bucks. But those are better. Yes, they are. These are fine. I just dropped my pick. These are fine. So let's talk. I have stories. I went golfing. And when I went golfing, I messed up my hand. I not only messed up my hand, I also messed up my elbow, which I did at least crack once, while I was, on the field. Yeah, it sounded a little like that too. But I golf once a year. And after I golf every year, company function, so, it's a thing, we can do that. So after I golfed, I was a little on the sore side as far as the midsection is concerned because I normally don't move like that. I'm not a bend and twister kind of a person. Unlike my Hurricanes namesake, thank God that thing is a thing. I mean, 50 years. I waited 50 years for a gosh dang hurricane, Kirk. Now I got one. So, heading right for you, Europe. So, sorry. I had nothing to do with it. Wondering what the cats are doing. So yes, Hurricane Kirk is a thing now. It exists. It's a wonderful thing. Not for the people who are going to experience it firsthand, but the fact is that I can celebrate finally having my short-ass little name used in such a manner. Now, I'm surprised one didn't exist before. It's not like the name is new. It's been around for years. It's just a little uncommon. You got guys like the Hammett and the Captain, which I've been called that for the last 50 years by a myriad number of people. Hey, Captain, how you doing? Well, I'm doing just fine. All good. Were you ever in the military? No, I was never in the military. My name was in Star Trek. That's what. So, anyway. But yes, I messed up my hand. I can feel it all the way down through in here, where I think I pulled something by going whack, and hitting. Oh, I definitely pulled something in there. I've felt better. So, but here I am, notwithstanding. with itchy nose and all, was watching The Thing and cooking food and watching an earlier episode of Side Scrollers. Earlier as in today. And this is the first chance I've got to sit down and actually play. All day long. And for a part of the weekend. Although the part of the weekend that I was playing, I did get to play some neat stuff. Hey, Stu! Of course, that's harmonized. How did that go? Pretty great. Good stuff. There's lots of really neat little licks in that. I'm talking about, I'm talking about the tune that I got to play. But yeah, hey, Stu, $12. $12. Link in the description. And the link is in the description. The Lincoln is in the description, not because I'm endorsed, but because it's a freaking fantastic deal for these. These are really great, and they're cheap as all get out. I mean, listen to that. Of course, they're going through the EVH, modified by a compressor, and let's see, I've got a reverb, of course, and the delay of some sort, delaying, like that. Sunny day. That's it. They do. But I don't. And it's all because of that damn golf game. So let me move this to the side over yon where it's normally sitting. And yes, so I golfed. I'll just recap that story very quickly. And this all the way up and through, man, that don't feel normal. It does not feel like it's supposed to feel. And so, it's because, I'm old. And I've got these to reflect. This is my reading glasses here. But if I'm going to be old, I might as well be old. So, this pain, lots of pain. Like not like I'm having, some sort of a cardiac episode pain. But, pain, and I don't like it. It's not cool. So I scream until I like it. I don't like it. So, but, yeah. I wouldn't say they clean up great when you... There we go. This scratchy volume pot. Sound okay. Actually, this is a neat little thing. So fast, it's... How did that go? Nope, can't do it. And then onto some tapping. And it's the part after that that I'm kind of getting a little, hazy on. What am I talking about, by the way? Talking about this. That's not how they actually play it. then there's this nice little... You have to do that. Then Andy comes in. Once again with the... And then you start to keep going with the... Which is again here. And of course they do the... There is a harmony there. Well, that's not actually the harmony. The harmony would be here. Something like that. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's it. But it's harmonized. So one guitar does one thing and one guitar does another. But they do a lot of solo trade-offs. And when I say solo trade-offs, I mean, it really do. It's almost like midstream. Since I've been listening to this since I was kind of a kid, I haven't noticed that it was really that kind of a trade-off. I mean, this is, it's so perfectly done between Pete Black and Andy that you're really not sure sometimes where one picks up and the other leaves off. Pete's got more of like this weird... Yeah, type of thing. Yeah. You know, it's a little more, I don't know. I don't really know what to call it. It's, his note choices are a little different, and the way he plays is a little different than Andy. But still, hard to emulate. But they're very well merged together. Some of these things, it's not quite, you're just not sure when you're listening to it. It's like this original lead that, which is harmonized here, by the way. Actually. And, yeah. That's the harmony part. I thought this was all the same. Which is a great lead, by the way. This is a fantastic lead. It's Andy, of course, there. But the first part was Pete. And they don't harmonize it live. So I'm a little disappointed about that, but it's apparently not. And they don't play it the same way they used to play it either. So up until 2005, you can find live recordings, or not live, well, yeah, they're live recordings of them playing this. What's the same song? It's The Invisible Guests. Yeah. So, which I didn't figure out that way, by the way. The first time I figured it out was my 25th like, guitar anniversary thing, where I thought it was... It's not. So I used to figure out things that were a lot more complicated than they need to be because my ear wasn't as trained as it is now. But also, when you watch them play and they're doing this, you know that, well, that's what they're doing. This is where the difference comes in. When I went to look this up, them, you know, getting some live footage, I was really hoping that I could see what it is that they're playing, well, at certain times. This thing was played like that up until 2005. When Mike Weed got into the picture, at least until 2005, when Mike Weed came in, they don't play it that way anymore. It's... So if you want to play the modern version, well, and you can, no problem. With the bar, of course. But it's always back to the A. Yeah. And granted, that might be a little more difficult, but it's not the same. It's not the way it's supposed to be played. I mean, are they hitting a tricky flat 2? What are you talking about? Tricky flat 2 is in this? No. That's the they're just hitting the right there with it. Yeah. So that bothers me though. The harmony is just in thirds, by the way. So but no, it's a pity that they've decided to change it, because when you hear it, you just go, wait, that's not quite right. But it's played in an official capacity. It is King Diamond's band. Mike Weed is in King Diamond and has been since, I think, 2008, or maybe a little bit earlier. But what do you do? It's, how can you argue that that's not it when it's kind of them playing it? Well, they've changed it. That's the problem. And you could hear it all the way up. You know, they didn't used to play it that way because they played it this way. The whole thing went up with it. It's a lovely harmony. It's great. It's perfect. You know, normal thirds, nothing out of the ordinary or weird, but nevertheless, that's that. I did figure out a couple of things, though, playing a different song, one before that on the album, and some of the things on that I've heard differently in my entire life. Slowed down, really listened hard, and I'm glad I did, because I was hearing note groupings that I've never heard before. And I mean note groupings is in, like, not just, it's in, one particular key, and it is in one particular key. But what I was hearing was, instead of going, no, there is other things here. So that's there. And it's pull-offs. And I was also hearing this part a little differently. The type of thing, where he goes back and forth. But it's this last part that I used to type of thing. No, that's not it. That's pretty much what he's doing. So when he... So how does that? If I looked. So I'm like, well, that's all in there, but what's going on out there? Cats and dogs. It's not raining cats and dogs. That's what Hurricane Kirk is for. But no, it's stuff I'm still working on. I should have been done with that this weekend, and I would have been if I didn't go golfing and wreck my hand. So, and then I got tired. Oh my God, did I get tired? Because I'm not used to this whole physical exertion thing, except for when it comes to guitar playing. Oh, I'll play guitar all day long and just get improved. But when it comes to going and whacking balls into inconspicuous holes, that's kind of like, it's a weird thing to me. I don't like that. I mean, I do. That's why I only do it once a year, though. I want to keep liking it. But I don't like it when I mess my hand up. It's a little different. Well, for any of y'all who are tuned in, Stu, if you're still there, you already know the news, but I will let anybody else know that. So the group that I've been playing with lately, we are now singerless. He has decided to up and leave the building. That's okay. It's not just his thing. It was kind of a quit fire. It was time, but it was mutual, so that's okay. But if y'all want to go ahead and... So the whole thing with the group that I'm in, we're not doing anything special. I mean, we are, but it's special for us, but it's not like we're trying to forge ahead and do real teeth type of stuff. We're not trying to create something new, and we're not trying to build anything in a movement. We're not trying to break back in, as we're older now, and we don't want to break into the music industry and go gangbusters and stuff. We just want to play some private parties, some gigs at like corporate events, stuff like that. But rent out Grange halls and say, hey fam, this is what we've been up to. If you just want to come and have a good time, come and have a good time. That kind of thing. Well, we have somebody on the horizon that will be joining us in a couple of Saturdays, not this coming one, but the one after that. And don't know if he wants to, do it more often than once. But as it is right now, he's coming out to just see what it's all about and maybe sing a couple of numbers. But he also blows a mean harp, and he's a good dude. So I'm glad he's coming out, and I'm glad he's going to be seeing what it's all about, because I used to work with the fella. He's a good dude. I miss him. He was a good dude to interact with, as far as like, hey, stuff's going on at work. Oh yeah, well, what do you think? Well, I think blah blah blah. You think blah blah blah. I think blah blah blah. And it was good. He's a good dude. He's just a good dude. So name's Perry. Like him. He's all right. And I already know how to work with him. So I mean, you don't have to know how. He has a good ethic, and we would work well together, because we have worked well together in like real work environments. So it'll work out, I think. If he wants to join up, I would be happy that he's there. And then, of course, there are other possibilities, but we haven't gotten there yet. So I mean, we'll see. Let's see. My buddy John's coming out for that too. He misses Perry as well, so that's good. But yeah, so that's what's going on. So as it is right now, there are things. So for those of you who noticed weirdness on my channel as of late, one of the things that I put up, I think it was Thursday, was a cover of Sober. May not have been the most authentic cover, but because we didn't have to play it anymore, I was celebrating. No, you don't have to, do anything funny. I'm going to play it in the key of E, though. No more. There's 2 chords in that song, potentially 3. And they just kind of repeat. Now, one of the things that I've said before about the group is that the only thing that matters to me is that it's fun to play. And to me, it's hard to make that fun to play when the person who brings the song in screws it up. It was time. So anyway, weight's been lifted. I'm really happy. All is good. And, that's the end of that. Well, as the story goes, so I don't have to play that anymore, but I still am doing the Stray Cat Strut. I'm still doing, now, Comfortably Numb. Goodbye. You are no longer in the group now. Not if you can feel it. Let me show you to the door. No, anyway. I'm honestly, I'm not bitter. I do feel like a weight's been lifted. But I wish the guy the best of luck. He just wants to be as unique and individual as humanly possible and do an artistic statement on his own. And I think that's fantastic. Allow it to happen. Oh, hey, you. Hey, you. I'm going to assume things. But no, so the guy's going to go do stuff on his own, and I'm really happy for him about that. I'm not going to be a part of it, and I'm really happy about that too, because I'm just not into 90s music, and he's all about like Rage Against Soundgarden and maybe combinations of those bands, and I am not. I am the farthest from that. I like music. I don't just like that as, a bunch of whiny crap while I'm sitting here whining, and yeah, I'm fine with that. So at any rate, no, I like things that are happy sometimes. I mean, look, what is that? Yes. Now that's about as far from happy or from sad as possible. In fact, it's in melodic minor. It's very interesting. Did we attack Russia? Did we? Oh, yeah. Let's play 20 questions with Kirk. I actually kind of thought about, I don't really have any topics for today. I had a couple, Kirk golfing, new pickups, buy them in the description. They're dirt cheap and they're very good. And they're orange. So, put them in a black guitar. It's Halloween. It's a good thing. Halloween. So, yeah. You say, why did we attack Russia? You know what? I'm going to go hit the news about that, see what I can see. If anything, it's going to be on the War Zone, one of the websites that I check on a daily basis. It's, I think, thedrive.com/War Zone, or at least it used to be. Yeah, the War Zone, that is. It doesn't say anything about that, but the world is bracing for Israel's retaliation to Iran's ballistic missile barrage. Iranian oil tankers bolting from major export island ahead of possible Israeli strikes. So yeah, the Warzone. Let me do this thing here. What am I doing? That's what I'm doing. There we go. So the Warzone, good website. If you want to find out about what's been going on in the world, mostly with militaria, and every once in a while they have very interesting articles. Tyler Rogaway, I actually subbed to him on X. I'm only recently being able to call it that. Twitter. It's Twitter. It's still Twitter. It will always be Twitter. But, you get some neat stuff like, making final selections for stealth fighters and plans for 2030 service entry. As long as they don't make them electric, they'll probably work. So, you have a secret? New what? What do you have? I must know. So, yes. Well, I think so too. It's very, kind of in the Halloween mode, I have to say. But, the pickups are like $12 and they sound good. I mean, really good. They're not like super, amazing. I was mentioning earlier that the Sandman pickups that I got here from, Sandman on eBay. Those are like Seymour Duncan quality. These are close. They're not quite as good, but they're also not quite as expensive. So, but for $12, I mean, for crying out loud, they're great. So. They pick up the little. They pick up all the little stuffs. It's pretty cool, I gotta tell you. So, yeah. So, where was I going before? So we can do like a 20 questions with Kirk. Any topic, no matter what, doesn't have to be musical, but I'm kind of a musical guy. And you ask me any question, I'll give you any answer you want. Ooh, excitement. But yes. The other things that I was saying, though, topically speaking, I golfed this weekend and screwed up my hand, everything there. New pickups, very nice. It was warm today, like unusually warm, like 70 plus degrees. I think 75 over here in typically wet Western Washington. Started out pretty chilly, though. It was lower than 40 when I got into my car. This was like 39 degrees, and all of a sudden it's like 75. But, gee, many Christmas. I am a warm one. I overdressed. I have long sleeves. Well, it's supposed to be long sleeve weather now. Oh, well, at least I have my Halloween stuff. Happy. And I was watching The Thing. We could talk about horror movies, too, if you like. If anyone likes. But I'm dying to hear about your secret new thing. I'm going to do bar things until you tell me. Actually, that whole thing with the pick a harmonic, whatever one you want. Let's pick a couple of them. And then start hitting on the bar. As you're depressing the bar, depress the bar, hit your hand. Very lovely. You can do all sorts of crap like that. It's fun stuff. Anyway. I don't know, maybe I should go back to that Clean Town. I was enjoying it quite a bit last week. Too much? I don't think so. Let's try it. Picking up more notes than we need. actually, that is kind of similar to this. Which is great, if you know the music that I'm talking about. Yeah. Something like that. How did that go? Actually, that's one we could pay attention to, too. And it just kind of goes up there. That's an interesting lick. Which is actually wrong. That would be here. Harmony for this is interesting. And of course, we are on the neck pickup. Just remember that. Not on the neck pickup at that point, by the way. Yeah, how did that go? You don't. King Diamond. Great stuff. Really great stuff. Back on the Them days, by the way. Just pick up the album Them. Probably available on YouTube, but you know, I'm not one to talk. I'm available on YouTube also. So you could probably find it there. And that would be from the song Welcome Home. So if you're into kind of weird gothic horror, well, I wouldn't necessarily say gothic. It is more like 1970s, 1980s. Kind of a horror story, and it's a album worth of it. It's one story, so it's kind of a rock album. You know, what is that? A rock opera type of scenario. But I wouldn't necessarily one of Metallica's influences. That's correct, absolutely. So yeah, man, this would have been about 1980. I want to say 87, 88. So Danzig, Diamond Head, yeah, they sure did. Well, Danzig was more of the Misfits, but yeah, Danzig was the singer at the time. So that's for sure. Oh yeah, absolutely, man. This is some great stuff. So that whole thing starts out with a great little drum thing by Mickey D, who played in Motorhead after this for many years, and now he's playing for the Scorpions. He actually played for Don Dokken on one album, so he was also in Dokken for a bit. But there's this nice bump. And then you get to hear King going, Grandma! You know, really high. I can't do it. For the sake of brevity. Did he really? So that's pretty cool. I would like to see Don Dokken do some free shows over here in Washington State. It would be good for me. So the first lead is by Pete Black, who no longer plays with the band. That's been replaced by several people. Mike Weed is the most recent one. So he's got this. I mean, it's just this soaring, screaming thing, and then. You can play it different ways. Howdy, Hopper. Then he's got this. Something like that. How's that? It's fantastic. The guy can just... He ripped, man. And he still does, but he lives down in Florida now, so I hope he's safe from, what is the hurricane coming out there? Merle? I'm not sure what they named the thing, but Marvis, Mavis, I don't know. But there's a Hurricane Kirk now, so take that. They've had every hurricane name in the book. Finally, they get to me. 50 years. It took me 50 years to have a hurricane named after me, finally. Good stuff. No, King Diamond's great. And I've been playing a lot of that lately because, it is the season for it. And I'm still trying to... Milton, thanks, dude. Hope it doesn't come up north this time. Hope it just heads right out to sea. How you doing over there, man? So, person in the chat right now actually lived through the whole North Carolina crap. So, not only lived through it, but he thrived and survived. So, how you doing, Bill? You okay today? I'd say I should probably take this guitar and pull the tremolo arm off because I can't stop playing it. I can't stop. Ain't happening. Let's switch picks and play it a little more delicately. You've been sick? Well, considering all the stressfulness, yeah, I'll bet your immune system decided to take a nosedive. I hope you are getting better, dude. Good. We'll play you the Get Well Now song. Yeah, thanks, man. So the sound's good. Again, I'm pitching these. These are $12. They're really, really good for being $12. $12 for the set. Can you believe it? I bought them because they were orange. Turns out they're actually okay. There's that bar again. I gotta stop that. Too much whammy. Let's fix this. $12. Yeah, check the link in the description. I'm sorry, they might be $12.48, but they're literally like half off, and they're normally $24. So I couldn't say no, and they're El Nico. I mean, I didn't even know that until a buddy of mine who I may have encouraged to say, "Hey, you should get these." He and I would have encouraged you too, Bill, but y'all were in a hurricane, so I don't. Again, you might not be in a position to to drop on this just because you need food and water and just in case the bank decided not to allow you to have your own funds anymore. So I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, if anybody globally is listening to this, you want to know some real deep crap here. This is why you don't want a centralized digital banking currency. Events like earthquakes and hurricanes happen, and when your electricity goes, or in just the event of a natural disaster, and the bank decides to withhold all your funds because it's a natural disaster and we're just rationing out the money that we have, yeah, that's a bunch of crap. So you get centralized digital banking currency, that's what you'll get. And it's permanent, and it never goes away. You want just electric everything, centralized electric plant, with lots and lots of windmills and all that kind of stuff, your power will go out, won't come back on for weeks. Who's going to charge your electric car? That's why we need to mix it up. Have different power sources. Nuclear, that's a really good one. It keeps getting overlooked. I still say, think about questions. Because 20 questions with Kirk. I got 9s on here. I'm really not used to something so easily thwackable. But then again, they might be 9.5s, and because they're 9.5s, I'm thinking they actually are, and I've been hitting golf balls. Now I'm just overpowering everything, so that's fun. So actually, that's a That's one of them. Yeah, that's it right there, yeah. Self-taught, playing for 15 years. Trying to learn music theory. Excellent. Solo over chord changes. All right. Any idea where to start music theory training? Yeah, you won't like my answer, but this is 20 questions, so I'm going to give it to you. Talking with people is technically a lesson. So you're not completely self-taught. Take that. So I have a minor rant about that, but I want you to know I don't hold anybody, in that kind of regard that decides to go ahead and reforge calculus by themselves because they don't want to read it from a book or take lessons from somebody else, is what I'm trying to say. I don't hold you in ill regard. There's a myriad of us out there. I learned ear training. I learned how to train my ear technically by myself. So, yeah. But, yeah, so you've had lessons. They're just unstructured lessons. I'm glad you're laughing about that because it's true. You just didn't pay anybody to learn it. But if you've ever watched a video about how to do something, you took a lesson. If you read a book about how to do something, you took a lesson. The difference, of course, is the interactivity of the lesson. The person can't just talk to you and tell you exactly why you're deficient. And in other words, you're forging ahead, reinventing calculus or reinventing the wheel when you could just stand on the shoulders of giants of people who have already invented the wheel and tell you how to do what you want to do, and then you can go off and forge your own path from there, already knowing what you need to know. So I'll tell you about music theory. Music theory is only useful when you're talking to other musicians. It's not useful for anything else. Everything else is all by ear. So it's the sound you're hearing in your head that you want to express that you get out. That's what music is all about. Knowing your instrument so well that there's no need for saying, all right, well, this is a flat 5, this is a sharp 9. This you don't need to know, or that's a 10. You don't need to know anything about that. All you need to know is where the notes are on your chosen instrument and how to express them correctly for what it is that you're trying to do. Now, with that being said, if you want to tell somebody else exactly what you're doing so that they know what you're doing, that's where music theory comes in. If you want to write it down and show other people what you're doing by writing it down, that's where music theory comes in. It's kind of like English language, if you think about it. Music is a language. And, if you're talking about parts of speech, whether it's, I'm glad it does make sense. So here's the point about the English language thing that I think you might find interesting is with a lot of music theory, like, how chord spelling, for instance, this is kind of like being able to identify parts of speech, like noun, adverb, subject, predicate, that kind of stuff when it's down to like sentence structures. Aside from just your typical, adverbs, pronouns, effing pronouns. But if I was to say, there's some theory like with guitar techniques and violin techniques called the double stop. What's that? It's just, literally it's an interval. It's 2 notes played together. Triple stop, same thing. Technically, that's a triad, 3 notes played together. But why do they call it a stop on a violin? I have no idea, but the language passed over to guitars. So now when you're talking about Chuck Berry, for instance, you're playing double stops. That's a double stop. Triple stop. No reason for that, but, you can do it. So where would you start? I would start with there is one major, and I'm using that term deliberately, there's one major thing that all music theory is based off of, and that's the Ionian scale. So where I would start with that is understanding intervallic notation. So what does that mean? That means I know a major scale. Let's go over I'm going to go full screen and stop showing this website here. Sorry about that, everybody. There I am. So let's take the major scale and let's do it. I normally gravitate towards like the G major, so you have your E minor and everything kind of goes together. Let's do this in E major. And it really doesn't matter where you're doing it. It really doesn't, because there's, unlike what all the classical cats will tell you and most music theory folks will tell you, that there's 12 major scales. There's not. There's one functional shape of a major scale. Once you know that is what it really is, there's one functional shape of a major scale that's been transposed, you're just moving it around, to cover like, okay, C major, it's the same shape, and it connects to all the other scale shapes that the major scale connects to, where it connects to, okay? So that's C major, okay? Well, why don't I play it in G sharp major? It's the same shape, because it's the same intervals to create that thing, okay? So this, same here. It's all the same. It's the same shapes. They're not the same notes. So please understand that when I say that's the root of it all, and it is, it's like a big tree. The major scale is the trunk of this tree of which all other scales and all other things branch out of, because it's all referencing that trunk. Everything is based off of the major scale in music theory. So, and I mean everything. Why? Because it's it's like the mother reference. If I played something different than what I just did, that's what I played, essentially, but, you know, started up here. And I play one note different, and I carry that note on. I guess that's two notes different. Let's play one note different, though. Actually, this one. I moved this note here. I sharpened this note. I made that note sharp. I made that fourth note in the scale a sharp, meaning that it's a sharp 4. Because in major, the 4 is just here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the fourth. Is that a different? It is. It's a different mode, but it's the same thing. In fact, it's sharpening the 4 is the same shape as normally the scale shape played off of the fourth note of the major scale. Okay? So here, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. In reference to the major scale, we could do this in triads if you like. So here's major triad. Well, that is a major as well. Why is it major? Why is it minor? The third note matters. So the third note of the major scale, naturally, the mediant, because it's in between, it's the middle note between the root and the fifth. And the fifth is important because reasons. I'll get to it. But this, the mediant here, subdominant, dominant, also known as a first, second, third, major third, technically. Perfect fourth, perfect fifth. Sixth, it's a major sixth. Major 7 or natural 7. So if something's major, it's not always known as natural, but in the case of a seventh, it is. So I could say the natural 3. And why is it natural? It naturally occurs there on the major scale. Everything means major. Everything. This is my cat, Hopper. He's definitely a major cat. So this, though, is Lydian. If I played Lydian, you'd recognize it harmonically immediately. If you want to become more familiar with modal sounds, the best advice I could give for that would be the Satriani advice, which is to play it over like an open thing there. Oh, bless your heart. I appreciate you. Well, if you're picking any of this up, if you need to tell me that I'm wrong about any of this, you let me know too. So anyway, so we have an open E. Oh, and I have no bar, so I actually have to play. So let's play E Lydian. Actually, let's play E major and get the sound difference. And that shouldn't have been in there. Sorry about that. It's an errant note. Should have been this one. That's that. So let's contrast that with the Lydian, because, that's the one note that I was showing what's different. But this... That's your Lydian right there. Well, yes, by all means, let me feel like an old man, too. Thank you very much. So, I am an old man, though, so... And it's the same, all the same as that major, but one note different. And that one note is the fourth, is sharped in comparison to where it is on the major scale. So, Ionian being that major scale, because technically there are more than one major scale. Anything with the third in it that is 1, 2, 3, 4 semitones away, or half steps, depending on where you're from. Because, you know, in Europe, it's kind of a semitone tone thing. And in America, it's kind of a half step, whole step thing. But, you know, I think everybody kind of gets everybody's lingo for this. So half step, half step, half step, half step. This is a major third, also known here. So you see the major third, minor third, Maynard third? Maynard third? That's funny. That's correct. So that also, though, tells you whether or not a chord is major or minor. Unless you alter it. So yeah, well, so 3 half steps. Well, it depends on where you're counting from, but 1, 2, 3, 4 is major. 1, 2, 3, it would be a minor third. Yes. So, and in the major scale, by the way, if you build a note off of every note from, if you build a scale off of every note from your Ionian, let's play it in G major. Okay, here. If I start on the next note and still play all those notes that I just played, plus 1. Kind of that. Also here. Or here. I'm not changing any note that I'm playing. I'm just taking those notes and I'm playing them in different spots, but I'm starting from a different point. The thing is, and you can get in arguments with Reddit. Don't ever go there. But you can get in arguments with people on Reddit all you want. But just playing those notes doesn't lock you into a... everyone's 70s. Maynard was a lady. Well, Maynard could have been. But this could also be named after the singer in Tool, right? So, of which I don't have to play sober anymore. I'm so happy. Anyway, going on with what I was saying about yes. So major and minor. So there are 3 major and 4 minor scales in that sequence of scale forms built off of each note in the major scale. Technically, those are not, I mean, we would call those just scales, but technically those are like the beginnings of the Western modal system. So when I talk about saying something like, sharp 4, and then maybe let's change the key entirely. So what's that? Just playing those notes in the way I am locked in. Whoa, oh, poor Hopper. Give me a second. He knocked down my secondary light. If Stu has anything to say about this, you should listen to him. He has the same mentor as I, and he is a sharp cookie. So, we both took lessons from the great, ineffable Kevin Wire, and we were both very, very blessed to have him as our teacher. So, good dude. Wherever he might be hanging out right now, don't know. But, if it wasn't for him, he unlocked the keys to the kingdom for me, so I'll be happy to help anybody else unlock those keys as well. So, yes, just playing the notes. In a way, you aren't locked into any tonal center. It's like playing roots, fifths, and octaves. Exactly, you're not. What locks you into a tonal center is what you're playing, over the top of what's going on beneath you. So if I'm just playing E, and this is what I was referencing before, is just playing scales like to an open E. Let's play Phrygian. So what are the notes in Phrygian? E, an E Phrygian. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. And then, of course, wash, rinse, and repeat. So. That's it. But you'll also notice that those notes are exactly the same as C major, which are exactly the same as A minor. But with an E in the bass, well, you're playing off of, or Spanish. which is technically Phrygian dominant, but, you know, who's counting? And what makes that dominant? Phrygian dominant. What's a dominant anyway? Do you know what a dominant is? Yes. Where is Aladdin? Well, you know, that to me is more of a type of thing. So, yeah, there's your Phrygian dominant. But this is more of like a symmetrical thing, kind of more related to Palog, but that's not often talked about. The Arabic scale, you know, that's another one. There are a lot of different names for a lot of the same scales. So if you ever get like a guitar grimoire or scales and modes book, or if you look it up online, you're going to see that a lot of scales have the same names. Like this one's my favorite one for it, because there's 3 different names for this one in particular. This, well, that's just whole tone, isn't it? Okay, because it's whole steps everywhere. So built off V. You know, you can have fun with it, but the fun part about that is it's not just whole tone scale. It's also known as the augmented scale. It's also known as the cosmopolitan scale. Why? No idea, but it is, and so there you go. So many names, right? Yeah, this is the problem with Satan. Beelzebub, Asmodeus, you know. Asmodai is another one. Baal, that's another one, even though he's supposed to be a major demon. Anyway, going on with the story. So Halloween. Why not talk about that stuff? So, on with the story, though. Play the kitty song. Gosh, dang, you're a fun one. Which part? Shall I play the last part that... All right, yeah. Yeah, I've got to remember how I did it first. Something like that. With, oh no. Oh. Oh no! Very Edgar Winter, though. So, well, I just do the... On the desk, my leopard occupied. Now I'm paralyzed. Oh no! You can't leave until they do, it's true. So the interesting thing about that, I actually do this nice little... Well, you're hired. Thank you. So you come around as many times as you like. I'll take it. You know, it's funny because I didn't write it for the lyrics to stick around. But I said it before, you know, write about what you know. And I know that one. I also know about my little man, it's a cat, of course, who waits for me as I'm chopping up pretty much anything in the kitchen. He just knows I'm going to give him something. And I do. And he just waits patiently looking up at me, you know, every time. Cute as hell. Great cat. Anyway, yeah, so I could write about that. I could write about the fight for laundry detergent on occasion. So, you know, no, they don't have my Ecos brand anymore. I'm going to get all itchy in the legs every time I have to use something like Seventh Heaven or Tide. It's terrible. So it's pure genius. No, you know, your liking it is pure genius. Thank you, Julia. You're very kind to old people. I appreciate you. I do. So... Hey, let's real quick go back to the whole thing. So what I was saying about the music theory, though, is to understand that all scales in one way or another have root in the major. The whole thing with major is, you know, if you learn the intervals, whole step, half step, we can learn it on one string, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Okay? Anytime you see that shape, that positioning, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, you are seeing a major scale. If you see a different combination of it, like whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, that's a different scale. But if you notice that all I did was rearrange where it is, it's still got a major scale in there. It's got Ionian in there. It's trapped. It's in there somewhere. But you'll find it here. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step. It's in there. So, that's that. But everything is based off of it. Everything. So if you see a major scale, it's got a major third in it. Oh, I was talking about dominance. You'll have a flat 7 and a major third, which is a little unusual. So that's your major 7. Root, third, fifth, and then major 7. Omitting the fifth on that. I suppose I could add that back and just do it this way. But that's a small reharmonization. I'm taking the third and I'm playing it an octave higher. It's still a third. Here's one for you if you want to write this down. Any note that you have in there, with what I'm talking about there with thirds and stuff like that. So the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, an octave. If you extend up from the octave and you go, let's say to what we would call a 9. Yeah, that's a 9 for sure. But when you play the next note, which would be a 10, no, it's not a 10, it's the third. The odd notes don't change value. I mean, you can say harmony in tenths and it's technically correct, but they're really harmony in thirds an octave apart. So, or 2 octaves apart. Harmony in tenths is a thing, but, again, with the Bach, that whole thing right there, that's harmony in tenths. It's an exercise in counterpoint, a contrapunctual, music. It's good stuff. The kitty scale. Well, I have a thing about the cats, man. They're mysterious creatures, you see. Let me go ahead and go to a clean tone. Way over here. Halloweeny green. Pretty good. Not bad. So that's 9 equals 2 plus 1 octave. Yeah, well, 1 plus 1 note octave. So there's your 9. So that's 2. Or is it a sus2? There's a real question for you. So when sus's come in there, they're always suspect. And I think why we call them sus is it's a suspension between 2 notes that would be a little bit more akin to what you would normally hear in like a major context. And that's actually the reason. It's a suspended note between a third. So you have a sus2, for instance. Here, this is technically a sus2. You could call it an add 9. That's fine. But because there's no third in it, it's sus. Not in the modern internet lingo either. So, and you can still do the same thing with a fourth. So if I did this, well, doesn't that sound like it wants to go somewhere? Like this, for instance. That's a sus4, sus2. And back to the, yeah, you see where I'm going? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stu, stop drinking. No. But this whole thing, that's what the whole thing is about the sus chords. If you wanted to know, if you didn't want to know, sorry. The thing about the dominant is it's a chord that's built off. Notice it's major, minor, minor. There's major again. Technically is sharp in there. And then you get to this fifth one away. And if these were major scales, they'd be a little bit different. So where would that be? So let's do that in 7 chord here. That would be here. There we go. That lovely sound. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but let's do that again. Still a reharmonization, but it works. And then you get here and it's, well, that's a major third right there, octave higher. And there's that 7. Now, why is that important? This is the same thing played in a different place. Because it's all one note away from the home. That's your G. So home, there's the root. Sure, you're actually on the 5th of the chord already. There's right there. That's a 2. All right, we got to go back there. This here, that's right there. Played slightly differently from there. It's the same thing, it's just an inversion. So what's an inversion? It's playing from the next note in the arpeggio or the chord. That's it. So you're inverting where the note order is. Kind of neat. But that's what that's all about. So the very first... Ooh, I'm going to punch the microphone. I'm angry today. So, no, very first thing I think you should do is go find yourself a nice local guitar teacher that knows what they're talking about. There are some guitar teachers who will just want to teach out of a book, but you really want to get a hold of somebody who's kind of been there and done that and doesn't want to really totally influence you. Most guitar teachers don't, by the way. I think this is a big misconception between people who are, self-professed, self-taught, in a self-owned kind of a way. The people don't really understand that they're not trying to make you play like them. They're not trying to produce clones. They're just trying to bring you out by allowing you to know the things that they know. They've been around and maybe they can help you, get better. So my very first bit of advice is, if you can't find somebody local to play with, for instance, and, learn from in that respect and give them money because for crying out loud, it's a service to you. But you should find yourself a good guitar teacher somewhere and allow them to go ahead and help you get better. So, but yeah, until now. Yeah, well, we got to stop that good advice, man. So, yeah, good. I know you knew many teachers. Okay, there are many teachers on Facebook. There's a couple of good ones on YouTube as well. I've heard of Bernth, but I don't subscribe to the guy. But I do hear tell that he does help a lot of people. Paul Gilbert gives lessons still, but I believe you can join like for some amount of month. That's like a guitar boot camp of his, which may actually be beneficial. But it's essentially, though, what you really want to learn is chord spelling. And that's a very good place to start, especially if you've already got, if you got your chops down, then the next place to go is to learn what it was that you just did and why it matters. So, this again, this is so you can talk to other musicians about it. Like, yeah, it's an E minor vamp, over, He was. That's correct. Paul Gilbert had a storied career over at MI, Musicians Institute, which coincidentally was called Berkeley West. Our Stu's teacher and mine, he was a graduate early on of MI. So we have this similar lineage for that, and it's great. But so that's back when it was called Berkeley West, because it was a bunch of guys over at Berkeley College of Music that came over out west and said, hey, we want to set up shop out here too, because Boston's a long way away, and there's people over in California that just can't go, and split it up a little bit. But that's what MI is really Musicians Institute is Berkeley. But they don't call it that anymore. There's an official split that happened somewhere in there, and I don't know when that was. But yeah. Well, that's arguable. He certainly was more prolific than his master. I think he's got somewhere around 270 solo albums out. He's got a Guinness Book of World Record for how much output that he's got. I don't know if any of the songs are memorable, but he certainly did put his name out there. The or his fake name for that matter. That's his character name. That's it. But no, you can hear the resemblance to Paul. Because he looked up to Paul, and you will look up to your influences. So, yeah, and he is extremely good. When it comes down to the tapping stuff, he's got Paul cold on that one. So if we're talking, yeah, Paul doesn't really pursue this, kind of... He doesn't really pursue that kind of thing. Buckethead did and got extremely good at it. So, yeah, there you go. But then Paul also doesn't do a lot of the. He does, on the other hand, do things like this. He does stuff like that, so that's good. He also does the but it's mostly like the one-fingered thing. So, pop the pick under here and, do the Van Halen-esque. Yeah. Even an occasional. Let's really. He will do things like that, and that's fun. But he does not play entirely like Buckethead, and I think it's good because you need that kind of thing out there in the world, dominating as they do. So John Five, another famous three-finger guitar player, not associated with this, by the way, but guys like that who can play remarkably well. Actually, there's a girl I follow too that and chicken pick. Oh yeah, the chicken picking thing is great. So I think that's something that everybody should learn how to do, and they should learn it with a Bach piece. All right, how do they go? All right, that's it. Dang it! I haven't played it in years, but that. You essentially can just kind of cook on that. So, actually, that's a great one. So this, just to get better at it, you're picking the B string, and you can pick it with any finger that you want, as long as it's as long as it wants to continue doing that motion. And it's E. Basically going up a major scale to the fourth note and then back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and back down. Something like that. How they? That kind of thing. Right. Another Galder, the master of Dimmu Borgir, left the. Oh, did he really? That makes me very happy. I can't tell you how happy that actually makes me. And I've got opinions about this, and I know you guys know that I'm not scared of sharing them, and I don't care if I piss anybody off, because this is my opinion. I've been a fan of Dimmu since when Chodelv was the guitar player, not the drummer. Okay? I've go back to For All Tid. So Nagash was the drummer. He still was the vocalist. But then they realized that the other was better at doing the other thing. I'm a fan of that band. Galder came in, wrote a couple of good albums with them, but something weird happened along the way. They just weren't the same anymore. They were banal. Something strange happened to them when Galder joined the group. So, yeah, good. So, yeah, I think Enthroned Darkness Triumphant was my first album from them. I got For All Tid just after that. Going on with that, the whole album with the reptile thing on there and everything. I can't think of the name for the life of me, but if I go into my archives, we could talk about this. So, but Galder was Old Man's Child. I heard Old Man's Child, and it's like, yeah, they're okay. Galder joins, writes a couple of good tracks. What is that? Kings of Carnival Creation. I think it's their most famous tune. And, people are like, oh, fuck yeah, this is great. And it was pretty great. But can you really think of anything else on that album? I mean, Simon Estinis is singing on it, sure. Joined Arcturus around that time. And Puritanical Euphoric Entropia. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, Puritanical Euphoric Entropia. That is the one I was talking about with the Kings of the Carnival. It is great, yes, but what else is on there besides Kings of the Carnival Creation? Wait a minute. I'm on the wrong album. Well, I'm not talking about Godless Savage Garden, the EP that came out in between that and the other. So, sorry about my old man ramblings, but it had to happen, and I had to forget. So, going on to Metal, and Adolescent, Leftover, Death and Complexity, Death and Beyond, that's what it is. So, going on to the Hold, please. I will be with you in 2 seconds. I'm pointing at the camera. There it is. Yes. Devil's Path, For All Tid. Stormblast. Stormblast was fucking amazing. The original one and the remaster, the redo, the re-recording of it, that brought Hellhammer into the group. That was fantastic. And very, very, very heavy. Really cool. Anyway, yes, Spiritual Black Dimensions is the one that I couldn't remember. So yeah, thank you. Then Puritanical. That's the first one with Galder. Death Cult Armageddon starts really strong, gets weird, but you know I got this thing for Stain Arsted, the old keyboardist, and I think that Mustus is fantastic, really really good. Shouldn't have left. Should have stuck with it. He had a career in the military. I understand how things like that happen, but yeah, Old Man's Child. I'm not a fan. I've heard his stuff. I had Old Man's Child albums when he would, I think I had the first 2 or 3. The one with the bat on it and the one with the, very outlandish, armored character. But you did a Galder tribute video? It's okay, dude. Look, hey, I share the haircut. I understand. But I just think that Dimmu was never the same band after that. It was just different. Now, granted, you had a different drummer. Choldolf left. You had Nick Barker at that time. And when I saw them live, that was the lineup. So I was really thrilled about it too. So I still think it was a great concert. I actually they weren't the headliners. This is over in Seattle at El Corazon. They were playing. They were opening for Cannibal Corpse, and we actually took off before the end of Cannibal Corpse. I heard the beginning of Hammer Smash Space. That was good enough, but we left for good reason. 1, El Corazon actually turned on the lights, and 2, I was getting a headache. 3. Beat the traffic out. So we did. But I was there to see Dimmu, man. Dimmu, The Haunted opened. This is before Ola was in it, of course. But yeah, no kidding, huh? So let's, shall we check out your channel on my channel? So let's see here. Yeah, go to channel. Here we go. At least I'm going. Let's see here, man. What you got down there? Oh, the legendary King Diamond 1 month ago. Man, I should be checking out your channel. What the hell? I'm going to subscribe to you. Hold on a second. King Diamond cancels Kirk. Wait a minute. When was this? And is this... No, you're obviously trolling. You son of a... So, don't be doing that. So, yeah. Let's see here. Because I'm seeing him on the 25th, man. I want to see him on the 25th. November, that is. So, Metallica, Bill and Jason Cannibal Corpse, blah, blah, blah. Bill and Jason Cannibal Corpse. Tyrannical Deception, blah, blah, blah. Tyrannical Deception 2. Which one was the video, sir? Oh, thank goodness. I mean, he's already had a triple bypass surgery. I wish nothing but health to the king. He's 68, okay? He ain't going to be around forever. This is one of the reasons why I'm so freaking excited to see him on the 25th, is I think this might be the last time I'm going to get that opportunity. So, let me see the king. So... Oh, no bar. I'm going to put that back in. I want to wank her a little bit. It's important. Get that stuff in there. All right. So let's see here. More 20 question stuff. That's what I wanted to do. So let's see. There you go. Your tribute. Chicken picking. Right. Go back to chicken picking. Another thing you can do with chicken picking. So besides Bach. Yes, my pumpkins are all natural. No, these are, okay, well, thank you for asking if they are natural or not. I think the lighting doesn't really do them much justice. You can't really tell things back here. But no, I've had these, I think, collectively speaking now for about 10 or 15 years. Somewhere around 10 or 15 years, probably about 10 or 15, I mean, somewhere in there we bought all these when my kid was a kid. And, they were all different colors. These were kind of natural colored somewhat, because you can always tell the fake ones. They're kind of yellowish and stuff like that. The one in the middle used to be black and pink on the inside. Well, black with kind of pink on the inside. And it was there's the Galder video. Well, I'm glad. Where are you pointing? So let me do this. And then you can say, third from the left, Kirk, third from the left. So share screen. Ha ha! But no, so I decided to get crafty, you see. I'm kind of a crafty person after all. There's a guitar or two I may have laid a hand to down here, like, oh, gee, I kind of built that one and, repaired that one. I change out the pickups, but you know, I built that guitar and I built that guitar and I built that guitar, and all. But you know, I'm kind of crafty, so I decided to spray paint them to make them look a little more Tim Burton-esque and somewhat natural. So all the lips, for instance, are blackened as if they're rotting. I've got the big thing about if you want your pumpkin to look kind of realistic is add green. So not just maybe the stem, but you want to add green and you know, spray paint black around the eyes, and then add green. This would be like a matte green of some sort, like an olive drab. And on top of that, then you add these little like yellowish corn maize is technically the color here of some flecks, right? So the link above you. I should tell you that I can't actually see links on my channel because of spam. I turned that off. So you can tell me, though, where it might be located on your video's thing that you may see here. So right here somewhere? Is it here? So... But yeah, I really hate the fact that the link thing that I've got going is turned off. I don't want to do that, but I also don't want to have to, you know, go through every single channel I've got. And look, this is dumb. I'm going to show you guys dumb. Can I show you dumb? I'm a guitar player. You may have noticed, and I like to do guitar-y things. So I cannot see the link. No, it is not visible at all. So... And I don't. Not only is it not visible, it shouldn't be there at all. So yeah. I've got links posted from other people turned off in A, chat, B. Like if you ever wanted to post a link in my comment section or something like that on a video, I will never see it. It's just not there, and it's because of the spammers. And you should see this. You should know this. You both, pretty much everybody here has a channel. You should, you know. Turn them off. Turn them off. Life is much better without them because, you know, somebody commented. You want to go and see what they had to say to either get combative or maybe thank them because they're awesome. And, you know, one way or the other, you don't know. So, Solar Free 2008, old channel from 2 decades ago. Oh, I see. So if I just looked it up and said Soil Free 2008, like this, and go here. That you? Somehow I doubt it. So let's try this instead. Channel. Try that one. Is that you? Did I find you? Oh, look at that. Tribute to Thomas Rune Anderson. Very cool, dude. Look at you. Watching me, watching you. He has very good taste in guitars. Yep, had that. C sharp as usual. Yeah, so he's dead now, you know. He's in a car wreck, or maybe he got sick or something like that. Please don't copyright strike my channel for displaying your wares, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to play C sharp. Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm going to kill it. Sorry. So, but we'll have him there looking very, you know. I might want to actually screen grab that. Hold on. No, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. There we go. Neat. Galder is unimpressed, Kirk. That could be fun. All right, I will check that out a little more deeply a bit later. But very cool. You made it on 4-track, did you? So, oh wait. The other video you posted, Dark Renaissance, was your first. Oh, cool. Yeah, man. All right. Well, let's check that out now, just a little bit, while I hit paint and do this. Save. What do you know? This, by the way, you see this? Paint 3D won't be available in Microsoft Store or receive future updates starting November 4th, 2020. When Microsoft makes something that's awesome and works well, of course they're going to get rid of it. Actually, I should put that in Snark. Done. Thanks, man. No, I don't want to say that. I'll fix that later with cropping and whatnot. Minor chard. I got a few of those myself, dude. Well done. Come on, kitty. Come on, Hopper. Come on, boy. Come on, sweetie. Come here, good boy. There's my good boy. You play well, man. Yeah, you play good. Kitty. Come here, boy. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here. There's my kitty. Come on up, boy. Can you play Twilight Symphony again? Come on, boy. Pretty good stuff, though, dude. Well, I think it's safe to say that if you lived up here 20 years ago, I would have probably striven to be in a group with you. You got the right influences. Chuck and black metal. Oh, come on, kitty. Sorry. So, as you may have noticed, Hopper has decided that it's time to visit. So, it's time to visit. Come on, kitty. What you doing? What you doing? Want to get close to the guitar? What a good boy. Bet you all didn't realize it was going to turn into a cat stream. I should probably do like this so I can see. There we go. Yeah. I got two that come up here the most. So this boy, who is 5, and since he was a baby, been practically inseparable. So he grew up fast. He's very, very big long today. When we got him, of course, he was about a week old, so he was a little smaller than his head right now. But yeah, he loves me. He loves the guitar. He would bite the strings as I'm playing him if I gave him the opportunity. But it's really funny. Yeah. I've only had one other cat that did it. Her name was Pumpkin. Pumpkin unfortunately passed 1 week before her first birthday. But it's not like we let her go out or anything. She didn't get hit by a car. She had acute hemolytic anemia, and was essentially, her body was just eating itself. There was no way out of it. It was terminal, and instead of letting her suffer, put her down. It was awful. But he came around about a year later, started acting a whole lot like she did. Staring at the strings as I'm playing and biting them and all that. I'm like, well, you get to stay. So yeah, I have Hopper now. He's my good boy. Anyway, then there's Addie, who is a very jealous girl, but she's the queen of the house. She's the finest kitty in all the lands. And she gets around here too. She is visible in my death video of, it's at the very end of, what one was that? I want to say that was Trapped in a Corner. And it was around Halloween time, 2020. So, yeah. To record a song with the great cat. Yeah, I don't know if I could fit around her ego. Well, I'll let her play violin. How about that? So, yeah, listen to me. You know, she was a school teacher. So. I mean, that's what I heard. There's my boy. Yeah, great cat would be fun. Could I keep up? I don't know. I really don't know. I think if the great cat stopped taking all the great coke, maybe other people might have the energy to be able to keep up with her, but I don't really know. I don't think so. You know, what a Juilliard-trained classical violinist, supposedly Juilliard-trained classical violinist that switches over to play like Beethoven on speed. So, you know, there you go. What do you want to do? Really, really fast Beethoven? Let's see what else is going on there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because that's long overdue. And that's not you. Let's talk about things we haven't talked about yet. Let's talk about legato, also known as the cat. It's not really. And so, much like those guys that tout, do you even lift, bro? Do you even legato? I do, and I like it very much. So, we can do all sorts of things to prevent, you know, errant noises, string noises, and whatnot from ruining our time. Actually, that... fun. But no, legato is fun, and more people should execute legato. Everybody, you know, and their mother nowadays is, you know, focused on dissonances, crazy ass stretches, genty. You know, everybody's focusing on that kind of particular sound, and I think that there's something to be said for, hey, do you remember there's this thing called legato? So... how about that nice little major thing? You know, why would you need to? Learned about hammer-ons from nowhere from a Troy Stinchie book. Yeah, so you see, you've had a lesson. So on the hammer-ons from nowhere, Joe Satriani, and I've talked about this not too terribly recently, but in relatively recently past. 1 second. I almost forgot I had tea over here. Okay. Is the mystical potato head groove thing. With the guys that I'm playing with, they call it the mystical potato fuck. That's just what they call it. So, and that would be playing this. Okay. So essentially what we've got here is a B minor 9. And we are playing it with a 4th in there, so there's a little more to it than the 9, so you got, you know, add 9, sus 4, whatever you want to call it, but you've still That is in there. So you got to include it in the name, right? So this to a what is that? A D Lydian. And right back to another 9, major 9. Now, if anybody's ever seen him live, they'll know that he plays this essentially with his hand right here and going. And that's it. And then so there's your hammer-on from nowhere exercise. And that's the D Lydian mean. Oh, Lydian. So, just to be sure. So, Lydian would be a major with a sharp 4 in it. That's it. So, an Ionian scale, sharp the 4th. It's no longer Ionian. You have a sharp 4. That means when every other note's the same as a major, or Ionian, that is, it would be a Lydian scale. So it has this kind of, it has a tritone built into it. The sound of Lydian once again. It's very Middle Eastern, not Middle Eastern. What am I looking at here? I think Himalayas, the top of Chomoloma, Mount Everest. So. Well, Lydian's all over the place. My roots for Lydian is pretty much what I was doing right there. It's very, like you're meditating high up in the cold, and you got some snow wafting down. You got all the flags up there from the mountain climbers, ohm type of stuff. But really, my knowledge of this extends to like, what is that? Yeah. Granted, that's mostly major, but if I did this, it doesn't sound right because it isn't, but that's now Lydian. So. Then we also have this. Oh, hello, Merdek. How are you today? So, I like snow as well. So the lead to this is also in Lydian. Yeah. How did that go? How did that? Yes. That's it. Yeah, nope, here. Nope, here. You see how he just proceeds down that? It's a great, B major 7. But it's over E, so that's Lydian. 100% all written over that. It's great. How did that go? Something like that. I don't remember it really. That's the ballad from Testament. Good stuff. So, but that's all Lydian. And so my thing with Lydian is back to Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Vai with the whole, like, it's something like that. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. I really don't know. I've never learned that, but I'm guessing it. So the acoustic midsection of Holy Wars use that mode? No, I believe that's closer to Arabic, which, by the way, is, I was talking about before, there are scales with many names. Arabic is diminished. I'm talking about... That's the Arabic scale. It's also the diminished scale. And that's all whole step, half step diminished, by the way. We're not just talking about the symmetrical diminished, which is whole step, half step, let's go up a minor third and do a whole step, half step, or excuse me, half step, whole step, go up a minor third, and so forth. That's the symmetrical diminished. Ending in another thing, but no, I think he, there. How did that go? Type of thing, but this does that a lot. Excuse me, but that's definitely harmonic minor, and yeah, Marty Friedman's great. So type of thing. I don't really. I never learned that part, but I can make assumptions. Oh, hey, sister, how you been? So, let's see, smooth and articulate. Well, he is smooth and articulate. That Marty Friedman is completely smooth and articulate. Whereas I am more smooth-brained and articulate. So, but no. So the Lydian thing. I'll go back to that really quick. The Lydian. It's a major scale, but remember, it's got a sharp 4 in it. So you can play things that a normal major scale would have. And all you have to do is remember that instead of being, for instance, in this case, instead of it being a C being your 4th, it's going to be a C sharp. So. Isn't that great? So all you have to do is remember that kind of stuff. It's a marvelous thing. Oh, well, thank you, man. Well, that's the thing about legato is so I didn't start out as like a fast picker or anything like that. I'm still not really. I have some chops, but I'm not what I used to be. But I started out as a legato guy, and so the Joe Satriani, Alan Holdsworth whole thing about that. That's where I was at, and I really wanted to pursue the whole legato thing. And it really started out with like Randy Rhoads, with some of the longer runs that you would find on like Mr. Crowley, the type of thing. So that's fun to me. Dude, you are actually in that category as well. You humble man. So, but no, I'm okay. I'm just okay. So we were starting a thing earlier on about 20 questions for Kirk. And then I got sidetracked to legato. And like I said, for any of you budding shredders out there, it's the Joe Satriani thing that we got to work on. So the legato being... So... And what makes this a Lydian 7, by the way? It's to enter juxtaposition of this nice 9, which is stacked 5s, really. Ninth chord from here, ninth chord from here, ninth chord from here. Kind of neat. But, so, or a sus2, either way, because there's no third. Well, we're going to put that third back in. It's a major third. All right, so somewhere in here. Well, where's that? Oh, okay. It's a natural 7. That's definitely in the Lydian. Well, what's that? There's your sharp 4. So all of these notes, if you combine those all, and I'm talking about all those notes, and just kind of reharmonize them, you've kind of made the entire Lydian scale. And it's kind of cool. So let's see here. We're talking about this. That note is that. So we know we have these two notes. We have that note, which is there. We have this note, which is there. We have this note, which is here, so that's the 7th. And we have this note, which is there. So the only note we don't have is the 6th, which is unnecessary to make the Lydian sound. Nice, but you don't have to have it. But we've got all this. Essentially. And if we play that with this, it's major. There's our 6th, which we don't have to have. Which is very Led Zeppelin. Which he played with a B bender, by the way, so we don't have a B bender, so we're going to fake it. Also, trick with floating tremolos here. If I bend a string this way, now I'm not going to pick that note, I'm going to pick a different note, and I'm going to bend that string, open string. So if I need to do like double stops, and I don't want to detune the guitar because that's going to pull the bridge forward, watch that. See that? As I bend a string, goes forward like so. Oh yeah, you'd probably be able to tell better if it was in full screen. So here. That's what I get for not watching myself play. Well, you're seeing this deflect just a... Oh, Addie, are you alright, kitty girl? Just kind of overshot a jump. Tail's all poofed up and everything. Anyway, okay, getting back to what I was saying. She seems fine. I don't know what I'm doing. Retuning my G string. But this... Work on this. Everybody pick up their instruments immediately. And the notes are as follows. C, well no, B, sorry. B, F sharp, and that's a D flat. Technically it's not, but that's incidental. I have to do it. I have to.
Such a waste.
Forget about it. I gotta reconnect those things. Anyway, no, Clarice, that's incidental. So the B, F sharp, and technically C sharp. Followed by D, A, and E. And it's hammer from nowhere time. So, grab your favorite guitar neck, just resting your finger on the strings so they don't ring errantly. And do some hammers. Hammer, 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 hammer. Hammer, 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 hammer. Just follow along with me. I'm not going to go too fast. Definitely not going to take it up to speed. Just going to keep playing it for a little while, okay? That's that. Okay. So, just do that. Work on that. Yeah. You can do it down here if you want to, but... End it there. So, the next one is this one, and there's two shapes to this. This one is the same shape, if you may have noticed. When you go to this one, that, excuse me, Changes a little bit there. So what we have is a D, an A, and an E, followed by an F sharp, a C sharp, and a G sharp. Okay? So this actually doesn't end that way. So up first time, and then up the second time. F sharp, B, F sharp. So, like that. So, just knowing those things. That'll get your hammer-ons from nowhere really going. 1, 2. There's a difference between the Alan Holdsworth legato techniques and like what's much more common with like your Randy Rhoads, Van Halen type, where we have pull-offs on those. Diamond Head, speaking of... not exactly, but the... So, of course, Metallica, a little faster. Nah, I'm just fucking off, but still, you get it. So this whole thing with, what was I doing there? Pull-offs. Which is essentially picking from a different place on the neck, using your finger to do it. My finger's there. Ah. So the hammer from nowhere on of the Holdsworthian technique, and some other people's as well, Brett Garsed, for instance, is literally hammer and replaced very quickly with another hammer on. No pull off. It's hammer, 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 hammer. Which is harder to do if you're not used to it. I mean, it can still be done. Especially if you're used to going up one way, right? So that, it's all hammers anyway. And that is a hammer from nowhere. Now, so some sounds that I keep, kind of referencing. It's a holdover from the 1970s. And really, that means it's a holdover from the 1920s, the 1930s. But here's where I'm going with this. Actually, even earlier than that. But so that kind of tonality, where you're juxtaposing, like that sound. You've got all sorts of things that could lead to, like, that's Bach, that's this, that's that. A lot of this leads back to Holst. And Holst was one of the primary influences, and Mahler, some guys like that, but mostly Holst, were one of the primary influences of a lot of the television screen composers like Jerry Goldsmith of the 1970s, although he was back in the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s. Jerry Goldsmith never died. He just continues to compose, and people keep using his stuff, at least as far as we know. So the thing, though, is that during the 70s, especially with a lot of the horror or even avant-garde films, you get a lot of ninth tonalities and a lot of them. That kind of stuff. It's all over the place. So I was hearing that since I was a kid. And because I was hearing it since I was a kid, well, now you're hearing it now too. So, but... Oh, Lydian. Yeah. That's it. Of course, you have to bend from minor to majors all the time. It's the blues thing. Even in Lydian. Be weird. It should be the rule of the game. Be weird. Anyway. Any more questions? When's the next time I'm writing a cat song? Next time I write a catchy riff. I don't know. If I had my looper, I'd probably try to start riffing something on that. Catchy. It is relatively low. I have guitars with higher action. I do recommend you trying those. Where is Murdoch? I don't know, but he did like the snow, and I would be happy to play snowy things for him. More of the... So, yeah, let's talk about action. So, can you see that? So, I think the action on this is about a 16th up. No more than that. Lowy around here. And that is nice and low. I do like that. But let's, for the sake of argument, mute this. Let's get the Catacaster into play, shall we? The Catacaster has higher action. Just does. And it will always have higher action. Because I like it where it is. But this, we're looking at like an 1/8 of an inch. Maybe a 1/4 of an inch down here. And it's got 10s on it. So it's heavier strings. Kirk hammer. His eye. So, oh, yes, if I didn't mute this. Now, that's something I do need to do. The switch needs replaced. Why? I can clean it, and it'll be fine. And then I let it sit for a week, and then I switch to it, and I got like half my volume gone. So, switch should be a lot louder than that, but it ain't. But, to get the point across, this guy here, still gonna do it. Don't need it, so. Can still do it, mostly. Oh, I'm in drop tuning. That's great. Hey, there's this great tune. Let's talk about non-metal things. Let's talk about plastic. So, actually, let's not. But so, as you can see by the red amplifier over yonder, we're in angry mode. There's a song from a band called King's X. And I've enjoyed this particular tune that is decidedly happy, non-morose, good stuff. Oh, I got something on WhatsApp. Oh, I've been talking about that. Where's the spirit of the guys from Obituary who are explaining? See, Friday. Let's see, All Live and Direct Path. Yeah, All Live in the Direct Path. We also talked about Rick Ross, Terry Butler a bit. He's like, if you want, guys, sign the guitar somewhere. Like, yeah, man, maybe you should. Right. So, yeah. Okay. Well, at any rate, getting that out of the way, let's talk about this. Now, I'm not a Soundgarden guy, but how did that? It's fun. It's very Beatles-esque. That's it. That's it right there. That's fun to play. And sometimes having something that's just fun to play and enjoyable and, weird is better than just going ahead and being angry all the time. So, or being down all the time or downtrodden or depressed or whatever. And, it's okay to mess it around. And, music is in more than one dimension. So, of all the things that I can offer as far as advice for budding musicians out there is allow all of your emotions to come out in your music. Not necessarily all at once, but that there's more to life than just looking at roses and smelling them, and there's more to life than just decrepitness and awfulness. Mix it around and surprise the people who are listening to you, because there's life out there, amazingly enough. And there's the opposite. There's the lack of it as well. So, but life is more than one dimensional. Your music should be too. Enjoy it. So that whole thing with the It's Love, that's a fun one to play, just because I don't play the Beatles. And this is probably the most Beatles-esque track I like. It's just an A to an A7. Right? Of course, if we were going from the G sharp, you would call this a sharp 5. But with an A on the bass, I would say, it's not G sharp with an A. It's simply, it's a 7. So. To this great, that's just, it's essentially a dominant, but so what do we have there? We have a flat 7 and the tritone of that leading it to essentially a dominant 7. It's great. And down to a G, and then that G7 again. At the last bit of it kind of hangs out there, which becomes a kind of a sharp 5 with a A minor, A minor sharp 5. Then it's just really simple. C to C7. And he gets to do a lot of neat little soloing things over that. I'm just messing around, but, he does solo-y things. I don't know exactly what it is. I never learned that, but, still. So, how are they? Have I learned anything else that's fun lately? I'm not sure. Well, yeah, the King Diamond thing, actually. That... I've known this one for a while. That, but it's actually played here. This is why you listen, you learn, and then you go watch them play it live if you can find footage of it. Because, you may be right. You also may be crazy. You may just be the song. It may just be the song that you're looking for. But the point that I'm getting at is you may have figured it out right, but you're not playing it in the right place. And, your ears can only go so far sometimes. But I swear, because they don't play it the same now as they used to. As I mentioned before, the whole... And that... It's a little harder to play on a 22 fret guitar. I keep running into stuff like that. But excuses, excuses. That, by the way, is an excellent exercise for your picking. This... Because if you do it right, everything will just line up great. And if you do it wrong, it's going to cause superfluous and extraneous motions that is going to cause you more problems later on. So, this... Yeah. So you should be ending that on an upstroke. And to do that, if you start this on a downstroke... That's going to be swept. Up, up, down. And I used to think that was open too, so it didn't really matter. But when I saw him play it, it's like, oh, well, I guess it's going to matter. So, late at night, I awoke from my sleep, hearing unknown voices laughing insane. Yeah, I only have two 21 fret. No, that's not true. I have one 21 fret guitar. I am a 22 fret guitar guy when my hand is basically, behind my back, All right, I'll play a 22 fret guitar. Or 90% of them that I have are 24 fret. And it's because I like the balance. So, Squier does make some 22 fret strats. The white little monster I've got back down there that I played on the diary video has 22 frets, and that's factory. So if you can find one of those, you're in. Of course, I scalloped it. It doesn't matter. And I replaced all the frets because big frets is awesome, and everybody should know how to do their own frets. By the way, I am of the opinion that, yes, everyone needs to know how to do their own fretwork. So I know it's going to take some people and make them angry who do this kind of stuff for a living, because here I am talking about learning how to do it yourself, and that means they're out of a job. But you know what? I can do a fret job for $20. Not 300. Wouldn't it be nice if you knew how to do a fret job for $20, not $300? I think so. I'm talking about yanking them all out, making sure that the fretboard is in good shape, and then putting them, new ones in. That's what I'm talking. I'm talking about the whole thing. Take out the frets and put them back in nice. So I yank them all out, put in the big ones. Big ones are good. This also has pretty high action. Strats, I think, weirdly, like the Yngwie Malmsteen thing, need to have high frets. So, or not high frets, hi-ya! I need to have high action. And, oh yeah, play from wrong notes. Yeah, I actually like Paul Reed Smith fretwork a lot, and I like their ingenuity a lot. But costs are roughly the same as Les Paul's at this point. So one of the highest frets on the Paul Reed Smith wasn't sounding. Went silent. Okay, so one of the things that probably happened there is if the fret wasn't sounding, it was probably grabbing a note from before. In other words, if it's a fret that you played a lot, let me explain this a little bit. So let's say I'm playing this, notes, and this note just somehow starts to go beep, 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 getting kind of a buzz like that. That probably means that the fret is a little lower than it used to be right there, meaning that the fret above it was higher. Now, depending on the place that you live in within the country, depending on humidity and temperature variations, and how you treat your guitar, meaning that if you dropped it, or if you left it out in the hot sun and then brought it back in, or in the cold and then brought it back in and it warmed up, frets that aren't glued in, Paul Reed Smith typically does glue them in, can work their way out a little bit, and you can just knock them back in a little bit. But frets that are pulling out a little sometimes is the cause. Another time, most of the time though, that causes us playing them. So Guitar Center Tech would say, yeah, exactly. So what I'm talking about is there's a couple of things that every musician should probably own in their arsenal. Because if you have a guitar and you have a set of strings, which, sister, I still need to put on a larger instrument, something that's, big and beefy. Where the heck are some of these tools here? God, oh my God, there's my slide. I can't play slides, so you guys are in for a real treat. See, I can't play slide. Isn't that great? It's fun. Okay, so if you have one of these, string winder. Okay? You have strings, string winder, you have picks, you've got screwdrivers, you have little Allen wrenches for various things. Okay, get this. Just get it. Just freaking get it. Okay. Okay. A second on that. Let me find the thing that you need to get. There's two things. That's one thing. There's the other thing. And while I'm at it, I'm going to toss in a third just because I'm awesome. And if you wanted to get into more expensive shit afterwards, you can. All right. So, for one, it's called a fret rocker. You can get them from Stu Mac. You can get them from Philadelphia Luthier Tools, which I did. You can also get them off of Amazon for pretty cheap. All they have to be is dead straight, dead flat, relatively thick. This will allow you to take these edges and line them up over 3 frets and make sure it's centered and see if it rocks back and forth. If it rocks back and forth, you've got a high fret. I am pretty good here because I do my own fretwork. Thank you very much. So going on with the wider one, you can go here and check it out. All right. And you too should do your own frets. I've been doing mine since 2015. So, just make sure. I'm just giving you a brief overview. There's more in-depth videos for it. You have a high fret. This is a fret hammer. Why is it a fret hammer? It's a dead blow hammer. Very small with a little brass end. You have a high fret. Knock it down. Knock it down. That's if it's actually pulling up out of the fret. But you can see that if it's happening. You can go like this. Oh, that's not in all the way. Knock, 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 knock. Done. And don't worry about, don't wham it, of course. But, you want to give it a good, you want to make sure that it's seated. So you're reseating the fret. And if you need to, and it's not something that, you need to reseat here, for instance. When I use the slide, it sounds terrible, doesn't it? Thank you very much. You get this little file. These are essentially, it's essentially a bastard file, but not quite. And you could just, knock down your frets. Now, there are larger things that you could use. This, for instance, if you need to do more than a few frets. This is a cheap one off of Amazon for like $20. But there are good ones, and I have one that's lying around here somewhere. It's literally a leveling beam. It's about that long. Got it from Stu Mac. They're like $85, but it's worth every penny. They're really, really great. Don't use them as a guide for a router. I also took one nice flat side out of it by doing that. That was dumb. But the other side's still great. But these are really good for like higher areas. So, just make sure it's nice and flat. Oh, tip on this is to, after you get it kind of straight this way, make sure you cover more than just one area of your fretboard. Go back and forth like this a few times too, covering the radius. Just make sure that everything is still as round as it used to be. And you should be good to go. Be very careful though, if you're only supposed to be knocking down one fret, that's it. Oh, and you can use a Sharpie to see where you're at with that. Like, all right, I'm taking a lot off this fret, but I haven't reached these yet. Keep going. So as far as like other tools to like really do fret jobs, that's one thing. So Molly Hatchet. I'm flirting with disaster right now. Yeah, there you go. All right, well, hold on a second, because I'm getting to the good one. That's it. There's a couple of different ways to play it, too. You can play a solo of this? That whole... How did that go? Yeah. Well, I got to learn it. So, because it's one of the songs that I've chosen to actually play in this. Hey, man, if you live nearby, you want to play, I might have a gig for you. But as far as the... How do they? Which I would play this way. Yeah. Yeah. So you're wanting to learn that part? Don't strum it. You actually want to play that with some articulation. Okay. So there are a couple of different ways you could do it. I don't think they slide, but you could slide it. Because to me it doesn't sound like a slide. I hear a in there. Slide it again, like I said, but maybe it is a slide. Yeah. Or there are more than one guitar player, you know. So. Oh, this? That? The part of the solo that starts with what I indicated. You are talking about this, then. Well, what do you know? I do have a little... I might give you guys an actual tutorial about fretwork. It's catching right there. Almost like something fell on it. Right there. And I didn't even do the hammery thing. But that needs to be smoothed out, because I am catching. You can hear it. Hear that? I hear it. And I don't like it. So this... I'll do it down here. No catching, and it's not going to drive me nuts, so... You're literally just alternate picking that. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it, though, okay? So this... Classic, you know, classic blues rock stuffs, okay? So this... You can also chicken pick it. See what I'm doing there? And really, you gotta wait, you know, you're adding an extra note in there by bending. So if you swept it, you still have to make the arc and come back around. And that's, you know, as fast as you can do that, that's your limiting factor as far as speed is concerned. If you're going straight... Or if you're doing the Chuck Berry, different person. If you're doing the double stop there, I will downpick that. So, you know, kind of like they say you want a revolution type of deal. So, G, B, and E strings. Yeah. So, down, up, down. So if you're doing down, up, down continually, I don't know if I would do it like that. Just because there's more of a propensity for me to either want to do all downstrokes or down, up, down, because that just makes more sense to me. Like this, the Too Young to Die, Too Young to Live arpeggios. This is not swept type of thing. So actually it's... And that's it. Yep. So that kind of thing. So yeah, Chuck's original, the Johnny Be Good. Yeah, you know what? I don't really like Judas Priest Johnny Be Good. I mean, I like it enough, but when I first they're gonna do Johnny Be Good, I was expecting the you know, that type of thing. I was expecting that. That was not what I got, and I wasn't happy about it. So now I actually prefer oh God, what was that? Back to the Future's version over Judas Priest's version. That's just my opinion, and everybody's got one. So on with the story. But this, yeah, man, when you go into something expecting Johnny Be Good, I'm thinking, you know, heck, even Johnny Be Good from who was that? Men at Work was better. It was weird, but it was better. So it had nothing to do with, you know, who can it be now with it. I guess it was something like that. Uh-huh. There it is. Who can it be now? Sounds very cool. But that's the thing. Music is silly putty. You know, you can just kind of mold it and twist it and, you know, copy things off. Oh, look at that. It's a comic strip. You know, you can do all sorts of stuff with it. And most people should. But that's me. You know, I'm just talking about as far as what my likes and stuff like that in there. But yeah, Men at Work did it really, where he almost sounded like he was saying bigot. You know, be good, 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 Johnny, be good, be good, be good. Fan of the 80s. I grew up then, so there you are. But the 80s, lots of interesting music. Oh, what's one of them? I don't know. I got something in my head, but I'm not quite sure I have what I have in my head. How did that go? Yeah. No. Is it? No. Ah, so it's right back. Right? So they had lots of nice melodic. Yeah. That's it. So there we are. Axel F. Foley for the uninitiated. Or for the initiated, either way, by who did that? That wasn't Jan Hammer. He did the Miami Vice theme. Jan Hammer, that is. Who was that? Harold Faltermeyer. That's a name. Back to this. So let's do the what I know of, at least, the Chuck Berry. Keep thinking Testament's lead singer, or also known as Buck Cherry, because somebody knows what spoonerisms are. So I don't know where we're at exactly as far as like how long I've been streaming, but it's about here. And so, let's see, Crazy Frog. Yes, Crazy Frog. There. Let's get that down right there. Oh, the Crazy Frog, yes, with the... Crazy Frog? I think I used to harmonize that 20 years ago. But and that's fine. Maybe I should do a remake of that, you know, like a more metal version of Axel F. But because I was also thinking about like doing Popcorn. This is a great tune from the 80s, from a 80s, early 80s, late 70s, something like no, that's it. Yeah. Something like that. Okay, are we getting that? So, what does harmonize mean? Great question. Allow me. So, any two notes played together is a harmony. Okay? It's not necessarily a melody, but it is a harmony. So, if I was to harmonize a B note, one would typically think in the 1980s it's literally an interval. It's two notes played together or more. So harmonize the major scale. Okay, so there's a couple of different meanings to that. For one, I'm going to hit things with this hammer. Put this away, and so I just not have it in front of me. So to harmonize a major scale. So if you're referencing Paul Gilbert's talk in Intense Rock, his first video, which I still credit as like, okay, there was the Kirk that existed before 18, and then the Kirk that existed after 18 on guitar. The Kirk that existed before 18 was not exposed to Paul Gilbert beyond Racer X. The Kirk that was exposed to Paul Gilbert's Intense Rock was Kirk post 18. And it's like, all right, night and day difference. I was legato, and now all of a sudden I could play a whole bunch of other stuff. Thank you, Paul Gilbert. Forever in debt. So as far as intervals are concerned, let's talk about the interval once more. It's any two notes played together is an interval of some type. If I played this note and this note, all right, well, that's a fourth. How do I know? Because I know, but you can know that too. If I play these notes, it's a fifth. That note, it's a third. This is a minor third, a major third. Technically, that's a minor third as well. This would be the note from it. This could be a sixth also if I was going in the other direction. So this being a, let's see, major third from here. Let's go down, and you can do all sorts of harmonizations. Okay, so all of those things, I'm making melody, yes, like melody. Melody, sure. Play other notes with that. Excuse me. Which... is that what I wanted to do? No. I mean, I could do that, but do I want to do that? No. I can just do this. That's it. Everything. So I'm literally harmonizing that. I'm giving an element of harmony to it. What is, again, harmony? To harmonize something is to add other notes to it that are usually in the same key, or maybe not, but, thing. So if I was to take a major scale, that would be minor. And I played that, and then I wanted to play over the top of it, harmonized. One of the things I could do is, like, a pretty standard fare for the 80s and 70s and stuff, is to do a third down or a third up and just go and end there that way. So one of the things that you can do to work on this is to talk, like... Excuse me. Work on your... work on those. But so, gosh, I think, what was I saying? To harmonize like a major scale, 3 notes per string, for instance, I'm not actually harmonizing, but I am arranging those notes in a particular fashion to make melody. And so when Paul talks about a C major scale, harmonized 3 notes per string, It's literally just him talking about them being arranged in a specific way so as to play them like that with 3 notes on the string. If I could harmonize it 4 notes per string, it would be a little different. Excuse me. So you get the point on that. But that would be to harmonize it in that kind of a fashion. So is it related to the music instrument harmonium? No. The harmonium was named after something called harmony was already developed. So where I come from, eastern part of the world, you're not the only one from there in the chat, by the way. You got a couple more, I think. So let's see. Eastern part of the world, we had a lot of harmoniums. Well, we had like clavichords prior to the harmonium. We had, we have had lots of things, but you have to have harmony first in order to name it after that. So yeah. So we've had pianos, which essentially means it's piano forte. It was the original name of the piano. It was taken off of an idea of kind of combining a hammered instrument with a plucked instrument. The plucked instrument in this case is the harpsichord, which predates, of course, the piano. And the piano uses several courses of strings, like 3 E strings, 3, but 88 of them. So the 88 times 3, there's how many strings is actually in a piano. No wonder they're hard to tune. But those courses of strings are hit by a hammer, whereas in those courses of strings on a harpsichord are plucked literally by a plectrum that goes by it. So harpsichord, no matter how hard you hit the string, it's going to affect the note exactly the same. On a piano, though, you have piano forte. You have loud, soft. So piano, soft, loud. I'm sorry. So it's literally it's a keyed instrument with soft, loud. That's all it is. But that's where we get the name piano. Pianissimo, soft. Piano, soft. Forte, loud. So pianos are piano fortes. Fun, good stuff. So, but harmony in general, if you can harmonize just about anything. Let's do one basic melody with a harmony in fourths. So. Excuse me. What it was. So this is straight major in fourths. Okay, let's do it in fifths. It's a little weirder. And I'm just going to hang out here and not... But I could move it around. It's going to be a little weirder this way, too. That's fun. You're going to have a flat 5 on that. I think you're going to have a... No, we won't. Now that. Yeah. It's either going to be a flat 5 there or there. But, so you're going to get those kind of interesting intervals, for instance, here and there every once in a while. So that 6th, I guess I was actually playing 6th here, sorry. 7ths, if you wanted to really kind of go nuts on that. And 7ths aren't really good by themselves, by the way, because that's literally like one note away from each other, but 1 octave apart. So it's not like the best choice necessarily, unless you're trying to affect somebody like on a psychological level, like, ooh, this is terrifying and traumatic. If you wanted to do that to them, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. It's your music. Have fun with it. But I'm not going to do that. I like thirds. I also like tenths. So I wrote a song a while ago that explores the harmony in tenths, which is really just a third an octave higher. And I called it, the name was given by a deceased individual named Damon Canaday, and I miss him. He was a good guy, drummer. I called this Glimmer Hymn. And all I was doing was kind of writing it as an exercise for this, same type of harmony. Which I'm terrible at this point, but... If you play it fast, it works, but, slow, it's like, what the hell am I doing? You get used to doing it, stuff like that. But this whole thing... I wrote that probably when I was 26. And I was just kind of going after little things like that, so... I didn't do that, but... You can. But all I'm doing right there, I am making harmony, and harmony and melody are the same things. And a lot of people talk about them differently, but harmony makes melody, and melody makes harmony. It's just kind of an interchangeable feature. So one more thing with okay, you got to go. Hey man, take care. Thank you freaking very much. I'm glad you stopped by. Great questions tonight. Sleep well and be well. Take care of yourself. I'll hopefully see you next week, Mondays. Still doing it. There it is. That's right there. You know what? A neat thing about scratches, though, on your fretboard, and I'm probably going to have to go myself because I've got a bedtime call and a 5 a.m. wake up call called an alarm clock. But so this thing here can make notes kind of last forever. So if you do give yourself fret jobs, which I highly recommend that everybody does, give yourself a fret job, yes, but don't polish them perfectly. In other words, don't make them super, super shiny. I think that's a secret that a lot of like major pros, and I'm not even joking here. I mean, you think I'm trolling. I'm not. I'm absolutely dead serious. That the first time I ever did this, I realized how Zakk Wylde could get some of the crazy vibrato and never-ending sustain that he got because the frets were left just a little scratchy. Because they're a little scratchy, they almost act like bows, making the string sing longer and longer and longer. So this little pick right here, because it's picking the string for me, you hearing that? It'll last forever because there's a little scratch in there. So that's kind of just a tip. If you do give yourself fret jobs, stop. Don't make them super polished. You can polish them, yeah, but don't make them like stupefyingly, like as smooth as, glass, which is a slow liquid. But, don't make them stupefyingly smooth. If you leave them a little rough, not really rough, just a little, you don't want to play it and go like, I hate playing this. You want them to be smooth. But if you just leave a little thing there, you'll have infinite sustain. And it's great. And that's how I think some of the old pros, before the Sustainiac system, of course, came on board, used to do it with this crazy vibrato. You just hit the vibrato, and it'll just go on forever. There. Oh, yeah, I never finished that. And then I'm out. Go clean, and then go home. Sure was nice playing with you guys tonight. The upswing. I really like Renaissance music, can you tell? And then there's this neat little, like major. What? Who plays chords like that? Me, that's who. Actually, it was... But we don't have gain on right now. We have, nice, light, jazzy. Actually, I'm going to have to start going downhill. The neat part about diminished is you can do anything you want with it. There's your real silly putty. Maybe I don't want to play there anymore. Maybe I want to play there instead. Well, I can just modulate from here to here without making it sound like I'm doing... Really sounds like it needs to be there, doesn't it? So this... You can take it and make it do anything you want. Diminished fits in everywhere. It's a beautiful thing. All right, speaking of fitting in anywhere I want, I'm going to go fit in my bed, which sounds really good to me. It's been a pleasure, like I said before. And I will see you fine chums, if you all decide to show up, next Monday. Although I really won't see you, but it would be really cool if I did. I mean, I can kind of see you. I've got this, the chat thing going there, and I can kind of see pictures of people, but, is that really you? I don't know. It might be, might not be, including me. I think, on X, I'm a cat, after all, so. And on here, I've got long hair. How do you know it's me? Might not be me. But as Halloween month continues, don't do that. Pulling strings off your fretboard, not a good idea, but it's for making, sounds like cats, though. Oh, long goodbyes. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow. Play faster. Is that a cat out there?